Legislative Health Chair Senator Therese Terlaje says the governor's GMH budget request is missing funding sources for major capital improvement projects. The hospital asking for $61 million for fiscal year 2020. $25 million would come from special funds. The remaining $36 million cites no funding source, slated to be used for capital improvement projects and operations. 3 of those projects deemed urgent by GMH. A $20 million information system the hospital has said would help answer CMS reporting requirements quicker. A $6 million power upgrade to GMH's electrical panel. CMS citing this panel as a hazard for the hospital. And a $5 million structural roof repair.
The roof, I just think that's common sense at this point. We can't have patients and our families walking in there with a leaking roof, and they're not going to have any comfort in the care they're going to receive when we can't fix the roof.
Terlaje says she's not sure why Adelup would leave these projects' funding source off the table. These 3 items raise the eyebrows of CMS, jeopardizing GMH's Medicare status.
I'm trying to keep my eye on the revenues that are being brought in, the revenues that were projected to be brought in, and the reports right now look like they're bringing in more than they projected to bring in. And if that's the case, then I can't see why we're going to delay giving to the hospital what it needs, especially for these projects.
Maga Haga Lulian Guerrero, during a tour of the hospital in February, pledged $30 million to GMH, and that's how much Terlaje says these 3 projects will cost. The governor said at the time she would address GMH's yearly $30 million shortfall with $6 million from a CMS adjustment to GMH's base rate and by stepping up tax collections.
We don't really need to wait for a dedicated funding source to fund the hospital. My contention has always been if the hospital needs $30 million from the government to make sure that our patients and our people are given the quality of health care, then we need to give the $30 million.
We tried to follow up with the governor today, but our requests for an interview were declined, and Adelup spokeswoman Crystal Paco said KUAM may have taken the governor's comments out of context. Meanwhile, Terlaje says if there are excess revenues available, they need to be put on the table for an accurate read of GovGuam's finances heading into the fiscal year 20 budget hearings.
If they have another source of funding this, then I think that should be put up front.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.